Why would they do this? Yet again, another example of a director's vision being molested by greedy moron producers, deleting one of the most important pieces of the movie and ruining its full potential. Ben Affleck's Daredevil is a cinema tragedy, but the director's cut? That's a different story. It exposes how pathetic Hollywood producers really are. You want to know a hot take? I think Ben Affleck's Daredevil is better than his Batman. Don't leave! Don't leave! Don't go off of me. Okay, listen, I understand there are a lot of Ben Affleck Batman fans, right? I get it, Batfleck's a thing. He's badass. I understand it completely. The thing about it is, Ben Affleck's Batman loses aura as the screen time goes on. He starts off scary as hell, very good Bruce Wayne. I actually like his Bruce Wayne a lot in BVS. The problem is, as he interacts with other heroes at the end of BVS and Justice League, he becomes more and more like a clown to me. I thought she was with you. Do you bleed? You will. As Superman looks at him like, what the fuck are you talking about? Justice League. He loses every single piece of badassery he even has in Justice League, okay? I think he's a bit overrated. But listen, for me, Ben Affleck as Daredevil, this was a dude that even with his potential thwarted, I thought he was a much, much, much better hero. Okay, I love Ben Affleck's Daredevil. I'm gonna go to my grave saying this is one of my favorite Ben Affleck characters ever. But when I'm talking about Daredevil here, I'm not talking about that shit theatrical release. I'm talking about the director's cut. The director's cut is everything with this movie, okay? Because the director's cut shows you how stupid the producers really were. Because the theatrical release was molested by them. Everything from, oh, we cannot have the suit too red, otherwise it'll look like Spider-Man. That's what the producers were really saying. They were watching footage of Ben Affleck undergoing all these changes in suits, and they were saying, nah, that's too red, make it darker, we need to make it look black. What? So you can make it look more like Batman? And they cut out the main arc of the movie. They cut out the arc that actually makes the movie make sense. They cut it out because no, it's making the movie too long, and audiences are not going to stick with it that long. These are the producers. These are what producers were and probably still are to this day in Hollywood. They're idiots. Okay, there's a fight scene with Fisk and Matt. This is the end of the movie. Fisk is defeated here. Okay, and Matt tells him, "The cops are coming for you." You hear that? The cops are coming for you. And Fisk practically begs Matt to kill him. Why? We don't understand in the theatrical release. There's no context to this. Why would the cops be coming for Fisk? Fisk admits his crimes to Matt in this scene. Nobody else knows he's the kingpin or that he's committed crimes. There is no explanation for why the authorities are now capturing Fisk and taking him under arrest. Nobody knows who the kingpin is except for Matt Murdock in the situation and Bullseye, who's broken in half on top of a car right now, right? He can't even speak. The context behind this was removed from the movie. The director's cut shows you how a murdered prostitute that was killed by Wesley Owen Welch, Fisk's main assistant, that created a trail leading back to Fisk. It starts with them framing Coolio. They framed Coolio, for God's sakes, for her death. And Matt finds out the truth over time. And then Foggy figures out that she sent a warning about Wesley Owen Welch and sent that to the detective. Foggy sends all this information to the detective who confronts Wesley, all right? And they apprehend him, and in doing so, they apprehend Fisk. That makes the entire goddamn ending make sense. It crumbles Fisk's entire empire, and they cut that entire arc out of the damn movie. The main way that Fisk is defeated is not a hand-to-hand fight. It's literally legally, and they cut it out. I don't understand. How? Where's the IQ? Where's the oh my God. Now, what I will say about this film, what I will say that they got right is, this is the best live action suit maybe I've ever seen ever in my life, okay? I love this live action superhero suit. Look how badass that looks, okay? Listen, Netflix's Daredevil, I think tactically this suit makes more sense. Obviously, it's got padding, it's got all this protective gear. You would want to be going out, if you're going to fight crime, you're going to be wanting to go out in this instead of leather, okay? But oh my God, man, that's a masterpiece right there. No one can tell me that this isn't one of the greatest suits of all time that superheroes ever worn in their life. This makes me want to do things, okay? This is you know what, man, I might be getting a leather suit at some point because of this. Now, the problem is, if I do that, I'm never beating the GIMP allegations. There are some people who think I look like a GIMP. Idiots. But this makes me want to ignore all of them and get a suit regardless, a leather suit. That is the most beautiful live action suit maybe ever put to screen, okay? Now, Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock is the definitive Daredevil to me, okay? Nothing beats Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock. Nothing ever. There are some people who say Ben Affleck's Daredevil is better than his. That's objectively false. You're just wrong. You're wrong, okay? But this is one of my favorite Ben Affleck performances because the character, you get to see his routines. Everything from being a lawyer to what happens when he gets back home from a night out. You see the pain in his knees that crackle when he tries to sit down. You see the scars on his back when he tries to pull his suit off. You see him trying to pull teeth out in the shower because they're loose after him getting punched all day. You see him taking a fuck ton of meds and having to go into a sensory deprivation tank to stop all the sound from the surroundings impacting his radar sense and driving him nuts. I love this. I love this. And you get to see what happens when he wakes up. You get to see the pain in his eyes. This is the sorrow. This is a broken man. You see it in his performance. I love this performance by Ben Affleck, okay? You get to see his relationship with Foggy Nelson. You get to see them bicker back and forth and talk about shit. You just get to see them hang out at a coffee shop. You get to see Foggy's reaction to Matt Murdock's spitting game. Okay? It's actually funny. I think Jon Favreau's Foggy is funny as hell. He's one of my favorite characters in the movie, for God's sakes. Let's talk about Elektra Nachos. Look, I'm not going to say too much. Alright? Is she miscast in this film? Probably. Does she have some of the most dumb, ridiculous sequences in the film, like her fighting at a park in front of kids with Matt Murdock? Yes. But what I will say is, while I love Elodie Young as Elektra, and you could say she's probably the better Elektra of the two, Elodie Young's Elektra in Netflix's Daredevil was bipolar to me. She literally, her motivations made no sense at one point. The writing behind her was a bit stupid, I'll be honest. Whereas this Elektra, I understand exactly what her motivations are. And this is one of the women who helped me discover my sexuality, so I do have a bias here, okay? I love this Elektra. I'm gonna be honest, I watched her training scene to the Evanescence song in the background. I would watch this every night before going to sleep, you know, as a child. I have to give Jennifer Gardner her props here, all right? Prime Jennifer Gardner as Elektra was something else. And I will say, I like her a lot more in this film than in her own Elektra movie, which was dog shit, by the way. I will say that. But the one problem I have with her is she should be removed from this movie. Her character makes this movie worse, in my opinion. It takes away not only from Matt Murdock's story, and I'm going to get to exactly how, because the producers are idiots for what they did in the theatrical release, but it's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary plot line, okay? It's just like Ghost Rider. Hollywood has this obsession, like we have these conventions for superheroes that we need to follow. Everyone needs a love interest. Ghost Rider did not need Eva Mendes. I love Eva Mendes, goddess, but she did not need to be in that movie. It's just Hollywood saying, okay, it's a superhero movie, there has to be a love interest, so we're gonna force it in. That's what this felt like. And it contributes to the worst scene in the movie, in the theatrical release. Elektra and him start kissing in the rain, right? The classic kiss in the rain. And she tells him to come with her, right? They're about to sleep together. And in the theatrical release, he hears people getting beaten up. He hears crime happening. He hears someone about to be killed. Guess what he does in the theatrical release? He goes with her and just tries to sleep with her, ignoring that. Right? I get it. You want to clap prime Jennifer Gardner's cheeks. I understand, Ben Affleck. I would probably do the same, but you're better than me. This is out of character for Matt Murdock. He would never do this. Whereas in the director's cut, he leaves her to go and fight crime. He says he has to go and he leaves her there in the rain. That is Matt Murdock, not whatever the fuck the producers wanted to do. And the producers literally only had that love scene in because it was a conventional thing to do. Low IQ. I'll knock every single one of them out in a street fight. You should keep, this is how they should have done. Keep her father, Mr. Nachos, Nicholas Nachos, in here. Have him be killed by Bullseye in the film, and you can set her up as like an anti-hero / villain for the sequel. So, remember, in the Netflix show, Season 1 focused on Fisk versus Matt. Season 2 brought in Elektra. That's what they should have done with a potential sequel instead of making Elektra have her own film. The fuck? If you want him to have a girlfriend, why not just use Karen Page? She's in the film. And I'm not saying you need to have her be his girlfriend. Like, you don't need Matt Murdock to be with anyone in this movie. They just need to follow the conventions of, oh, he's a superhero, he needs to have a love interest. The fuck? Stupid. Okay? Let's talk about one of the best race swaps in casting history. Michael Clark Duncan as Wilson Fisk. I'm gonna be honest, he's not a deep villain. His motivations are paper thin at best, but my god, the gravitas, the suave nature of this man. Vincent D'Onofrio played a disturbed, trauma-ridden Wilson Fisk, right? But he, man, he's a cottonmouth from Luke Cage. He's got so much charisma, smooth talking, until he decides to absolutely brutally murder his goddamn security guards in front of Wesley. He literally is talking about how in olden times they used to cut the tongues out of their guards to stop them from leaking shit. And he kills both of them on the spot while Nicholas Nachos literally just walks in. He literally murders 2 people while anyone could walk into the door for an appointment. That's Wilson Fisk. That's a nice Wilson Fisk right there, okay? He literally, in the middle of a party, tells Nicholas Nachos, yeah, you're dying today, buddy. You're dying. Laughs at in Nicholas Nachos' funeral. Elektra and Matt are having a dramatic scene, a sad scene. This guy's laughing in the background. He's pure evil in this. Pure evil, sadistic evil, and you love it. His performance tells it all. And he is the most physically imposing version of this character played in live action. He's exactly what Wilson Fisk should be looks-wise, right? I love Vincent D'Onofrio, and I think he has that physicality, but this guy is huge. When you see him in front of people, he's massive. Look how jacked he is. When watching this dude, I think even Spider-Man might struggle if this dude got a hold of him. That's how big this man is. He's a massive individual. I think the way to have made this movie... Listen, the director's cut is a better version of the Daredevil movie, but it's not perfect. It's still got the major problems with the film. You needed more of him. I don't know why the producers are fucking idiots. You needed more of Wilson Fisk. If you leaned more into his character and removed the Elektra story arc, bro, this would have been a perfect film. You could have made this an amazing film. Lean more into him. Lean more into why he's doing what he does, for God's sakes. Bullseye. Let's talk about Bullseye. Look, Wilson Bethel, he'll always be my Bullseye now. After the shit that he just did in that Daredevil Born Again episode, after what they put him through. Remember, trauma, disturbed, mentally ill. That's what he is. He's like a school shooter. Realistic. Okay? But this guy... Listen, this is a cartoon. This character is a psychotic cartoon. This is one of the most unhinged characters, by the way, in any movie ever. And he's more unhinged than Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, any real-life killer you know. He is unhinged, man. This man, in the worst... I don't know if security gets any worse than this. They allow this man to walk in, even though he's chewing staples in his mouth like they're gum. He's getting dogs to kneel for him. This dude, every single part of him is a weapon. Kills an old woman in a plane because she's talking too much. He kills her with a goddamn nut, making her choke. Okay? Brutally murders Elektra in... by the way, this is a brutal scene. I'm surprised this is like a PG-13 at one point. I get it. I think the director's cuts actually are. I might be wrong about that. He stabs her and makes out with her as she's being stabbed. This is a vile, disgusting man, and I love it, for God's sakes. And the final fight with him and Daredevil, horrible CGI fight at a church, by the way. But the way Daredevil defeats him by making his hands get shot by the sniper, and his reaction, my hands, you took my hands, mercy, as he gets thrown out of the bro, it's this is one of the funniest characters of all time. I'm sorry. And him and Fisk have a scene that is the funniest scene in the film, where Fisk asks him, how do you kill a man without fear? And Bullseye's answer is, this is one of the best answers you could ever give. Is it like a high IQ quotable line? No. This is what he says. Fisk asks him, how do you kill a man without fear? And Bullseye says, by putting the fear in him. And Wilson Fisk is like, oh yes, I like that. Like, bro, what is this dialogue? What are these characters? They're cartoons. Both of these guys are idiots. But what you can't deny is, take some of the worst MCU villains. Look at this trash. Bro, we can't act like these two aren't better than all of them. These two are better than some of the crap villains we're getting post-Endgame now. This is a fact. Bro, we just gotta be honest about this. This is not a perfect film. Director's cut, theatrical, doesn't matter. But this had so much potential. You had two of the funniest, most schizo villains ever seen in a film. And if you just leaned more into that, you would have had a great movie. Legit, I will go on my deathbed saying that, okay? That is what Daredevil is. There's another movie made in the mid to early 2000s with Hugh Jackman in it, and it gets a similar amount of flack for being pathetic and terrible, but I think there's a lot of heart in it too. It's called Van Helsing, and I made a video about it. Watch that video here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. but the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.